Hey guys, what's up? Shawnthebro here, and today, love the old school green screen, right? Yeah, we actually, thanks for coming in. It's funny that you mentioned the green screen. So we actually, we're changing over the green screen so I can do everything over on the computer, which is actually why the regular one isn't up today. So I really like that you brought that up. Many a day playing Oregon Trail and Carmen Sandiego on them, right? Oregon Trail, yes. I actually never played Carmen Sandiego, but I do know where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, so. Awesome, well thank you for coming in. I saw Morgan, I saw David Taylor, Everglades, Kameen, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Thank you so much for coming in. I know I'm super bright. It's like the light from the heavens is shining down upon me, but actually, I don't know why it's so bright today. I think it's just darker in the room, and so the light on my face is like super shiny. If it bothers anyone, I can actually turn the light down. Hold on, maybe I'll try it a few clicks. So I didn't realize just how bright it was. Okay, I think it's actually a little bit better. Everglades says, "Hey all, hello," and now you can see all my Streamlabs stuff. So let's switch over to this. Although I mean, not like you can't say anything. There is a button. Right? I did lower it. Morgan. I found the button. I just, it was just super bright. I don't know why. It felt like it turned itself up since last time. Oh my god, on the first try, right? Right? That's what I'm saying. I like the enthusiasm. Alright, so we'll get started today. Thanks for coming in. I'm seeing a few new faces as well, so thank you so much for coming by. I'm very excited. So I apologize. I don't exactly know what happened. The notification for this live stream didn't go out on time. I did it the same way I always do it, but it said there was like some issue with some part of the video, and then I had to redo it while I was here. So everything's fine with the video as far as I can tell, but Grandma's here. They say, "Hi guys, hey, what's up? I think you turned it up, you glowing egg," right? No, I didn't turn it up. I'm just glowing. I'm so bright. Black says, "Hello all," right? Blah 914CK. Or I think black is appropriate here, right? I just want to make sure I'm saying your name correctly. I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce the letters, but thank you so much for coming by. I love your icon, by the way. I have seen it before. I've seen the icon before, but now I'm just realizing what it is. Like, I recognize the picture from you before, but I did not recognize what it was, and it is awesome. I love it. Shadow Magnus is here. What is up? Hello there. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for coming by. I'm so excited. I'm happy to see all of you. Thank you so much for the support. All right, guys, let's get started then. So I got my phone over here. If you see me looking over here, then that's why. I keep forgetting to change my YouTube username to the one I use everywhere. That's fine. I just didn't know. I do try and call everyone by their name on that current platform. For a few, yeah. Okay, I didn't see. Thanks for coming by, Blackbird. I didn't know if you want me to call you that. So, for example, without getting into a long story, I have someone in the Discord who does not like going by their Discord name outside of that because they don't want to connect the accounts. I didn't ask why. It's their business, but I try to respect that, and if anyone's named anything different on another account, I try to make sure that I don't call them by something else. If they have their full name, then I can call them by their full name, but if they don't, I don't want to call them out and make them feel uncomfortable. So I did recognize you and your icon, but I never realized what the icon was before, so I really like it. Alright guys, so we are getting started with the side-scroller series, yet again. And this will probably be the last enemy episode for a bit. I mean, typically when you're making a game, at least in my experience with making games, you don't focus on one thing for a very, very long period of time. Basically, you'll finish your task that you're given if you're working as a team, or some sort of topic that you're on. So I wanted to do enemies. I thought that was a good one because, in the side scroller, say we're making this Castlevania type side scroller that we are, then we want to make sure that we have basically one of every element that we could want. So we want to make sure the platforming is good, we want to make sure the combat is good, and we want to make sure the movement is good. And once those things are in place, you know, we have little mechanics here and there. We have like keys to open doors, buttons that can trigger things. Now we have enemies. We can kind of put these things together and then make them more advanced for the specific cases we have. That's what I tried to mimic here. You know, I probably didn't do the best job of it, and that's why I'm kind of all over the place, but I promise I had a plan. So let me catch everyone up. Sometimes Unreal likes to do this where... No, it's not going to say I have errors anymore. I love it. Sometimes Unreal likes to do this where it'll say you have errors. And sometimes you do, but it's usually from a hot reload. And it is from a hot reload. So, okay. I may have to restart the editor. Let's see if I can build and get this to fix itself. Sometimes you can. Anyway, that's what I was trying to mimic. So, you know, I felt like we were doing really well with the movement. There's quite a bit to do with the movement. I know Fatikins in particular does not like the side-scroller movement within Unreal, and that's fair. It doesn't put off quite the side-scroller feeling, but it is just a template, so I don't fault Epic for that at all. So I know there's things like that that we definitely should do to make it better, and there's quite a few tricks that game developers do to kind of, you know, make the game feel nicer, look nicer for the users. So we have plenty of work to do, but I always like to get kind of like this test bed of all this different functionality that I can do and can set up, because it gives me ideas. A basic enemy, that way we kind of know what we're working with. Sometimes this will work. If you are familiar with the hot reload error, then it gives, it's just a pain in the butt. You should, you know, if you have Unreal closed, you'll never get this bug. Or if you open through Visual Studio, you won't get the bug. But I just, you know, it's less convenient for me because I like being able to make a quick change without closing the editor. But it's fine, we'll work with it. Wait, where did your hair go? Or am I stupid? You're not stupid. My hair did go away, just like yours, actually. So thanks for coming by. Great to see you. Yeah, my hair went away. Morgan cut it for me because she's nice. And, you know, decided that it was time. We both decided. I was growing out the facial hair a bit, but it was time to cut some of the hair off. Okay, I gotta reset these states, unfortunately. It shouldn't take too long. But because everything got messed up. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So we should be good now. Dead to Idle. Yes, Dead to Idle will not be taken. Okay, cool. So now I think we're back in business. I know also the zombie BP, was that the one that had the issue? Oh, it's probably the behavior tree. See, this is why Unreal is a little bit bad, I will say. There are some bad things about Unreal. And this is one of them. So, I know we set the character state somewhere. Okay. Did we... Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we did it all in code. That's how we should have done it. So if I was smart, that's how I would have done it. Let's see if it works. Okay, looks like everything's working. So, sorry about that, guys. I had to... From many hot reloaders, I always load from source, right? Yeah, so, you know, that's the way to do it. There's just too many hot reload errors. But dang, like, hot reload is so nice, though. I love it so much, and I want it to be better. But... to me, it seems random. I don't know if there's a way to tell if you're going to get hot reload errors before you get them. So, you know, it is what it is. We have a bunch of mechanics in this game, and that's why I was talking about all that stuff earlier, like the test bed and things, because it's so fun to me to just make these mechanics. Now we can start making levels. So what I want to do today, my goals for today, to wrap up this enemy. Now, he can walk, he can even attack. He does not interrupt his movement to attack. He basically checks if you're within a certain distance, and once he has done his walk, he will attack. Which we should fix up, because, quite frankly, he's a bad enemy without that. But he does walk between 2 points that we've given him, and he does go into the correct animation as long as he doesn't come off the attack, simply because he does not have an attacking to walking animation, which we could set up right now to clean that up, because I just think that would look a little bit better. Alright, this should fix it. It depends on if it will still use the state machine. If it doesn't, I'll explain what's going on, but I'm pretty sure this will fix it. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So, yeah. We had this basic enemy. Again, very basic. We're going to have a lot more complex enemies in the future, but I wanted to be able to test damage, us taking damage from him, and us dealing damage to him, and also defeating him. And that will basically finish off like the beginner enemy trilogy of streams that we do here. And once we do that, then I honestly think we work on the movement. The movement of the side-scroller is quite good. It is the template, so, you know, there's nothing too special about it, but it is good. Like I said, there's a few tricks we can do to make it better. So I won't waste any more of your time. I've been talking a lot. Let's just get started and get working on it. Let me catch up in the chat. Hot Reload is the bane of my existence with UE4. Maybe it'll get fixed in UE5. So I love that everyone is talking about Hot Reload, by the way. So Kameen is saying, yeah, I always load from source, and I totally respect that decision. Again, I want to do that because it, you know, you don't get the hot reload errors, but I just, in my head, I'm like, I want hot reload to work because it's such a good feature, and other engines don't really have it. At least none that I've seen that work as well as Unreal's. Now I know Unreal's is buggy, but when Unreal's does work, it works very well. It does everything you need it to do without any extra steps. Hot reload being the bane of your existence, I absolutely understand. It's actually terribly annoying. Although for me, it's usually just an annoyance I've seen lately, and from you and from other people in the Discord, that it's actually causing like genuine errors, where not only is it changing your enums, but it's actually like disconnecting nodes and stuff. And as for getting fixed in UE5, I really hope so. I really, really hope so. Okay. So I just want to do damage right now. I want to be able to kill the AI. We can fix up his, like, interrupting his movement to attack, but I think let's do damage first. That's the main thing I want to set out to do today. Now, luckily for us, we actually already have a way to do damage and to take damage, even with effects and all. We have all this stuff going on, where we have the on hit with the capsule component. We deal damage to the player. Otherwise, if the player is in the star state to die, we can still do that. In fact, I'm probably just going to copy this. The zombie BP is not a child of the base enemy BP, mainly because this is just kind of a template enemy that we had made before we had animations. But, yeah. So, an easy way we can copy... Ooh. We can copy the logic. And I will explain it. I'll go over it again. But you guys may have seen this before, so I won't go in too much depth. Basically, when you're trying to do a collision check with multiple objects, so say in this case the zombie BP has to make sure that if they hit an invisible wall, they're aware of it. First of all, if they hit the invisible wall, then they need to be able to go back and forth. They need to walk back and forth between those points. That's the way we set up that enemy. That has to be done. But also, they need to be able to come in contact with the enemy. So you can just check if the actor they're colliding with is an invisible wall. If that cast fails, then go to your next cast, which will be our Twitch game character, which is just our main character. One of the best features for Unity. Yeah, so I have not used Unity in quite some time. I know that they have good visual scripting now. I don't think it's quite at Unreal's level, but it's supposed to be pretty good. It's starting to get there, so Unity, I think, is going to become a lot nicer to use for people of all experience levels. But we'll see. If you've been using Unity lately, please let me know what you think of it. Because I went into it probably like 6 months ago just to check it out, but I haven't actually made anything in it. Okay, so all we do to do damage is pretty simple. We've already set this up. We check to see if we are overlapping And actually, this is... Well, I realize this is overlap, though. Give me a second, because we might have to do this from the character. Yeah. So, the characters have to block, and the zombies overlap because of the, because of his collision presets, so... We won't actually be able to take damage with that in mind. So we'll have to adjust that a bit. But let's go over the logic real quick, just so we're all familiar. Basically, I'm checking to see if the Twitch game character is the actor that we're colliding with. I'm getting their state, and then checking the... checking to see if it's default, invincible, or star. Invincible is what we're doing after basically they've been hit. They get a few frames of invincibility. The star is a power-up that, you know, it's like works like the Mario star. If you have it and you run into them, then they end up dying. And default would just mean they don't have any specific state right now. So if you walk into an enemy, you take damage. And then I just do basically a location check to determine if they should be launched to the left or to the right after collision. Now the only problem here is that I have component on begin overlap, which really is not great for this because the capsule component I'm in the zombie BP, right? Really, I did begin overlap for that. Oh, I did begin overlap for that because of the invisible walls had to be overlapped so the player could walk through them. My bad. I had to take a second and think. It makes sense. So we don't want to do the check for the enemy on overlap. We do want to do the check on hit. And I can move this back over now. So hit, remember, is for like blocking collision effects and types. Not hit component, I apologize. And your overlaps are for things that are, you know, other players can walk through them and things like that. So we don't need to simulate generate hit events, but we do need the collision presets to be correct. So a pawn will be able to collide with another pawn, of course. You can see it's set to block. In that case, we should be able to trigger this. I know the collision settings are a little weird, but you can see that they are working. We have overlap with the invisible wall, but we still have hit for the player. So when the zombie walks into him, then he takes his health. Now, we haven't set up everything for like dying and getting launched back on the paladin character, because for the same reason, before we had animations, we were actually using the side-scroller example character. So we do have to set up some of those things as well. But because I'm treating this live stream kind of as like a series like I would on YouTube, I want to cover everything. I want to cover all the changes I make. I don't want to do anything behind the scenes. That way you guys miss it. So we are going to cover it again. I find its coding easier, and the workflow is smoother than Unreal, but I am a die-hard UE person. So I totally respect that. So first of all, for the coding being easier, it probably is easier because C# is a lot more friendly than C++. It's just C# is a little bit less powerful because usually it's got a lot of helper functions and things that it doesn't really let you manage memory. So we haven't done too much of it in these series yet, but you know, normally in C++ you're going to be using a lot of pointers, a lot of, you know, even just bit operations. You're going to be using a lot of stuff that is really good for memory, and that's where C++ really comes in handy. It's definitely harder than C#, so C# is a lot more convenient. So I agree with that. The workflow is smoother than Unreal. That I also 100% agree with. I will always say that about Unity. And I get being a diehard UE fan. I mean, I'm the same way. I started using it as my final for school project, and then I got a job working with Unreal, and now it's like, I just want to work in Unreal. Alright, so, yeah, sorry for the delay, but we're going to be wrapping up this part here soon. Now we have the damage working for the zombie hitting the player. We basically trigger damage on the player if the zombie collides with them. We also need the paladin character to be able to lose health. We have the ability to update health icons, as you may notice, and hide hearts and things, which is good. but we're not actually taking damage in any way. Like, for example, let me go to the side-scroller characters, what we were originally. So we had logic to basically check if we were colliding with a foot collider and then cause them to take damage. Great. But the rest of the logic was just being used to determine if we could kill them or not. So now we have to kind of update the paladin character to go along with that. And we also need to update them to be able to hurt the zombie. So right now, we're casting to check if the object we're colliding with our sword, because we have this weapon collider right here. It's attached to the sword. So as our sword moves, we can check if we are meaning to be attacking the enemy. And then if we are using an attack and the collider is colliding with the enemy, deal damage. But right now we were only casting to base enemy BP, whereas we need to cast to any type that we can hurt. Now, I should probably just remove base enemy BP because we're never going to use it. At least not that base enemy BP. This one is... That base enemy BP was kind of just a trial run since we didn't have any animations. So that's on me. I should have renamed zombie BP to be the base enemy sorry, the base enemy BP. Or I should have kind of transitioned one into the other. But regardless, to avoid confusion, I'm going to take out the base enemy BP here in the cast, and we're going to use the zombie BP. You can use just the zombie class. You don't have to use the zombie BP, but I do like to use that one because you can do a little bit more with it. You'll have everything the code class has and everything the blueprint class has, and so you have full freedom over the logic you want to use. Okay. Oh, here we go. And now at this point, he can hurt me if he walks into me. But if I hit him, he dies. Now, you know, maybe not the flashiest death. And in fact, it should have played this explosion. Should play this explosion. I'm almost wondering if it's valid. Wow. I really did that? Weird. I called take damage and then checked if it was valid. I don't know what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen. That was just... I should have done this before the take damage. And I'm gonna switch it because that just doesn't make any sense. Because if it's not valid, then weird. I apologize for that. But I just can't. I won't lie to you guys. That was just not something I should have done. I should have done it this way. We're getting heavy rain now. Very heavy rain. Not like the game, but in real life. So if the stream buffers at all, or if it disconnects, I'll be back in a few minutes, assuming my power comes back. I do want to warn you just in case. Alright guys, so sorry. Now that I'm, you know, feeling myself again and decided to make a proper decision. Here comes the rain you ordered. Yeah, exactly. I knew it was coming. I said it too, because on Monday it canceled our stream. I totally knew it. Okay. Okay, I see why I did this. I was being a fool. So, I was doing it because after take damage, if it's not valid, then that's how we know that they've died and that we don't need to use that. Okay, that makes so much more sense. So, I apologize. I am just stupid. And you guys can call me out for it. It's totally cool. No one will blame you. Okay, so now we can do damage to the enemy. The only thing we have to do to catch back up is now make sure that the player can die, the paladin character can die, and we can actually see the effects on the zombie. So the zombie probably only has 1 health by default. I can't really remember. I might not have exposed it either. Health equals 1. Yeah. So I didn't... Actually... I was gonna say it should be. So we can up the health, and you should be able to see the explosions. There we go. Now, it won't display the last one, because the last one is meant for the death animation, so that's intended. But now, everything's working but the paladin dying. That's the only thing we have that's not working. So let's verify. Let's see what's going on here. We can lose all of our health. And obviously take damage is getting called. But we are never destroying the actor or playing like a death animation. So I think what happened is I commented out destroying the actor because we don't really want to destroy the actor when the player dies. That's kind of like one of the worst ways to go about it in this case. We actually just want to have them play like a death animation. And then, you know, trigger what to do after that. So take damage, die. Yeah, exactly. So we took everything out of die. So the logic is probably working, but we're just not doing anything with it. So let's add a Boolean, or better yet, really, a state, even though we have to close this. And we should say dead. Because we can have a dying animation. Maybe you have an item that can revive you. You can be in the dead state for more than just dying. You know what I mean? And you can use it for more than that. So you could use a Boolean, or we can keep with our state system. And we'll say dead. And now we gotta reload this. But once we reload this, I think everything will be working. I don't know if we have a death animation for our character, so we may have to go find one on Mixamo, which I'm happy to go do. And then we'll be essentially done with all the logic that I wanted for today's episode. I mean, we got plenty of time left. We're still going to be programming. But that's really what I wanted to cover, no matter what. I wanted to finish off the enemy. I want to be able to kill them, take damage, and I want to be able to damage them, just if they have more than that health. Let's see if we even have a death state here. We don't. Okay, so yeah, this is the issue, obviously. So let's say dead. And let's make sure... I don't think I have... No, I don't. Okay. Character reference. State. So, again, you could just as easily use a Boolean for this. It doesn't really matter. The only reason I'm using the state is because states are often better. They kind of make it... With Booleans, you have to keep track of a lot of logic at once, and that's why I kind of do that in the fighting game tutorial. There's so many cases where it's like, I'm in this state, but I can do this thing to go to this state. In the side-scroller, you don't have so many specific cases. And the specific cases you do are probably few enough that you can get away with 1 or 2 Booleans. It's not like, oh, for this specific attack, and I got 50 attacks and 8 characters that have 50 attacks. So I think I'm going to try and stick with the state system as much as possible, but there's nothing wrong with the Boolean. Performance-wise, it's not really any different. The enum will be a little bit less performance-wise when you use it the way I'm using it. You can convert this from a uint 8 to like, I forget exactly what it is. It's like a unsigned bit even, as opposed to like 1 byte. But it's not really important right now, and to be honest, I've never had to do it, even for work, even during optimization, we've never done it. It's a lot easier to be able to have this where you can read all the states for it, but it is possible, and it's something that should be taken into consideration. Now we have the idle to dead state, and I don't really need dead back to idle. I mean, it depends. So when we respawn, we can force them to go back to idle. We can also recreate the character, which forces them to start an entry again. Either way, I will have the state here to go back to idle from dead. But we probably won't use it, at least not yet. So default. Alright, and now we need to get a paladin death, essentially. So we can go to Mixamo. And we can get a death animation for our paladin friend. Please, do I have to? Usually you let me log in. You guys can see my email, that's fine. Okay, so here we go. if we have, I forget exactly what he's called. I know he's called the Paladin, but I thought he was like Knight something. Is he Paladin Knight? No, just Paladin with prop. Okay. Dying. So we can pick whatever animation we want here. This is just going to be our death state. Actually, quite a bit of good ones. That one's very violent. Not so violent. Wow, that one he's just like instantly dead. We won't waste too long on this. I kind of like one of the slower ones, but I don't want him to move around too much. Okay. Are there any that are in place? Okay, it's not the end of the world. Something like this is probably good. Yeah, we'll use this one. I think that one's pretty good because it just looks like he, you know, he's been through a lot. Man, that's crazy. Okay, we'll keep it probably like that. That's probably good enough. Let's download this. Without the skin, 60 FPS, uniform keyframe reduction. Okay, and now that we have our dying FBX, I gotta go into my animations for the Paladin, and I will bring this over. I like to call this like probably just Paladin Death, and then bring this to the Twitch game, and right there. At this point, we're good to go. Now we can link up the animation, and we'll be able to finish up the death for the player. Maybe. It was running quite hard to perform that operation. Okay. This is good. I just want to check something. Okay, it does not look good in this case. Alrighty. And let's test it out. Actually, we never assigned it in the CPP. Dead. Okay, I'm here now. Hey, David, nice to see you, buddy. Appreciate you coming by. We're having a good time so far. We basically finished up the logic for taking damage, dealing damage, and dying. We already kind of had it, but we didn't have it on the paladin character, and we also didn't have any sort of animations or indicators like that to go with it, but now we do. Now, if I go into the NMBP, assuming everything worked as expected, you should be able to die, and then actually go into the dying animation. There we go. Now we can still move around, of course, because we haven't disabled any sort of character movement or anything like that. So we're just this corpse on the ground. But there we go. And, you know, that's what I wanted to cover. So now we can kind of just play around with it, make it look nice, feel good, and figure out what we want to do for next episode. So one thing I do want to do is I want to figure out how in the behavior tree to cancel the zombie movement and go straight to the attack when the condition is found. The other thing I want to figure out, well, I don't have to figure it out, but the one thing I want to do is also disable the movement on the character because, you know, once they're dead, you don't really want them to be able to move left or right. So the easiest way is we can disable, you know, the move right function, but we don't really want them to be able to do anything. They shouldn't be able to jump or anything like that. So, you know, we could just check if they're dead and don't do it, but there is something that, you know, we have that state, but we could also have like bool can move and force can move to be false. And I do this in the fighting game series, but it's really useful because say you want to do a cutscene and you want to like pan away from the character. You can just set can move to false, they can't do anything, or they can only do what you want them to do, like crouch or jump or something, maybe not walk around. So let's do that. Just copy this. Can move. Set to be true by default. And then basically, if not has used basic attack and and can move, trigger jump. If can move, see, like, if I don't let them, I can let them start the basic attack and still allow them to be able to move, or we can just block this as well. And when we die, all we have to do is say can move equals false. Okay. And at this point, we should not be able to move when we die. Or at least, we shouldn't be able to do most things. We might still be able to rotate and such, because I know that is tied to the pawn rotation, which we're specifically controlling the character, which is basically the pawn. We'll see. It is possible there's a little bit of room for error here, but let's see. So I died, I cannot move, I cannot jump. I cannot attack, I can't do anything. I am defeated. And then at this point, you know, we'll reload, we'll have to cover checkpoints and things like that. The only snatch and redeem show and tell. I love it. Okay, we can do show and tell here on YouTube. So just so everyone's aware, show and tell is it's a thing that you can redeem on the Twitch streams that we do, the gaming streams, like usually the Dark Souls streams, where I just show you something cool I have around the room. I need to get like more programming related stuff and show that off for the YouTube ones. But Snatchin', one heck of a guy, I'll tell you. And he redeemed show and tell. So we can totally do that. I guess this is kind of simple, but you know what? I like it. And it fits the theme. So I collect a lot of figures. Not all Funkos, just a bunch of figures. But I've been looking for a long time for like a Castlevania related item. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is my favorite game of all time, and that's kind of why we're doing this series right now as well. So I have this Trevor Belmont Funko. I believe he was released relatively recently. It's actually in relation to the anime, I believe, which I have not watched yet. But yeah, so he's pretty cool. He fits the theme, so he's my little buddy for today. Show and tell. David says, Redeem, play the game a certain way. Don't. Hey, we're not playing the game, okay? We're not playing the game a certain way. We're making the game a certain way. That's what the challenges would be on the YouTube channel. So yeah. So thanks. That's a fun thing. Really, that's one of my favorite things to do. I like showing things off. You know, it's cool. It's fun. You get conversation going too. So I appreciate that, Snatching. Good one. Very good one. So at this point, I mean, let's fix up the AI. You know, we've been working on it for 2 episodes now, and it's in a pretty good spot. The only thing I really want out of this zombie is, well, he does need to take kind of hit reactions, but it's not the end of the world. We don't even have hit reactions from the player yet, so they can come later. But the main thing I want to do is, he should cancel out of his behavior tree to go into the attack behavior tree. Now, in code, you can simply return from the loop you're doing. In the behavior tree, I'm not entirely sure how it's done. So we're going to have to figure it out together. Remember, we were learning the last episode, or the last 2 episodes were the first time I've ever used the blueprint behavior tree. Ever. So, you know, I'm pretty new to this. I'm used to doing it in code. But I want to learn. That's the whole reason we're here. So that's okay. But let's figure this out. This is a sequence, so it does this and then this. So the zombie walk task is where we're moving the actor. Now, technically, we should be able to stop walking and then trigger the attack. Now, one thing we could do right off the bat, or at least I believe we could do right off the bat, is in the start walking function, or, you know, in a function where this is triggering, we could continuously loop, do basically the condition that triggers the attack in here, and if it does, call stop walking, finish execute, and then do the attack. But I don't know, it seems a little hacky. I want to learn. I should have looked it up prior, but it's okay, we're going to learn together. Nice, thank you. Thanks, Natchin. Everybody else says nice. Nice, thank you. Right, it's cool, it's just fun. It's just a fun little thing. I do need more programming related stuff. Like, I have some stuff, but not really anything I can show off. I need to get something for that. David says, hey, Snatchin', and Snatch says, hi, David. Alright, Alright. I'm trying to think if that's really the right way to do it, though. That feels kind of hacky. I'm not trying to implement a hack here. The lock AI logic I could not get to work. I was trying to use that last time. That could be our answer. I might need to figure that out. Let me do something. I want to see how often this prints. Does this only print once? Or does it actually loop through this until the task is done? It prints once per move operation. Okay. So this async task. So, okay. Wait a second, guys. Wait a second. This issue is not what I was thinking it is. I was thinking of it the wrong way. So, see how easy this is to do. I mean, you can call me stupid if you want. That's okay. I won't even be offended. But, bear with me for a second. It's not that it's not breaking out of the task. Okay, so look. The walking cannot get to the attacking state right now. So, it's not that the zombie's not breaking out of the task. And look how I figured this out. So, look at this. So, he's walking. Alright, he's walking into me. He's in the movement task right now. So, you're like, okay, great. But when he stops walking, he does the attack. Well, that wouldn't make sense. Look, I'll show you a better example. Let me get hit by him and run. Hold on. Oh, I'm gonna die again. I should never have implemented death. So watch this, guys. Watch what I'm trying to. Oh, I can't really show it off the way I want because he runs like the same speed as I do. I need to slow him down, like legitimately. I might be able to get hit by him and then jump over him. Okay, well, it's a little bit hard to show, but I'm not saying there's not still an issue, but first of all, he needs to be able to go from walking to attacking, because if he's going to be in the move to state regardless, he's not going to be able to cancel out unless he returns to idle. The only way he can return to idle is by his state going back to idle, which only happens when stop walking is called. So first of all, that would never work. We would never get it, regardless if we were canceling the task or not. So first things first, let's do this. I guess let's make a shared transition. We'll say trigger attack, I guess. Actually, we'll just say basic attack. Basic attack, in case we want to have more than one. Basic attack and basic attack. Now, he can at least go from walking to attacking. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to solve the issue and cancel the task, which it did not. But the good thing is, now, it maybe if we try the locking logic, now it will work. Also, it is very, very rainy out, so we'll see. Sean, I hate to say it, but I should go to sleep. Lots of stuff planned for tomorrow. That's okay, buddy. You don't have to ever be sorry. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for stopping by on YouTube. I am happy to see you. I am glad you came by. Hope you're having a good one. Hey, you too. Have a good night. And, wow, said stupid because I said I wouldn't even be offended. I might still be a little bit offended, okay? That's all I'm saying. Let's try unlocking the logic. Have a good one, Snatchin'. Let's try unlocking the logic and see if that was the issue all along. It did not seem to stop anything here. And that's okay. So what are our other options? We have a lot of options here. So we have the stuff on the overlap. Yeah, we could do that, but that's for the block. So I almost feel like, yeah, this is the should attack stuff right here. Is there a reason I made it as ugly as physically possible, or? There you go. It's a tough call because I really don't know what the proper way to go about it is, AI wise. Like we could do it a few different ways, but I don't really want to implement a hack. Although we might want to say Bible thumb. Hey, good night. Night, Snatch, and thanks for coming by. Okay, so yeah, let's just implement it. Let's get it working. I will do some research and see if I can clean it up in the future. One thing I do want to do, I need to know what this async task is, because this could also be the answer. Yep. Okay. Alright, let's look this up. Oh, I can't even view documentation on it. Wow. Move to location or actor. We can just do it right here. So this is a good way. This one is good. This one is actually really good. Matthew Wadstein. He probably knows what I'm looking for right now. This is actually what I was looking for, though. Let's see if it says anything about it. Nope. About how to stop. Gotcha. Oh, see, this is also good. Yep. So they're actually doing the same thing that I was saying I kind of wanted to avoid because I thought it was a hack. This is actually staff. So actually, I guess I'm not doing it the wrong way. I guess that's intended to be how you do it. Because that's literally a staff member who works on Unreal Engine. So, okay. Well, we'll do it that way then. All right. I was sitting here wasting all this time trying to avoid doing that. Whereas it appears that's what I should have been doing all along. I think I did close that already. Dang. I'm not sure if I should do it in the controller with the pawn reference or the character. I'm not sure if it matters. The stop movement immediately is from the character. Oh, of the character. Okay, cool. So we should be able to do this just on collision with them. If I'm understanding this correctly. Now this is specifically on collision, so it won't exactly work with the way we had like the distance set up, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. If we can get it working, we could always move the logic to the character. I think technically that's better because of the behavior tree logic. While it's highly optimized in Unreal, I'm sure it's easier to perform it in character. There we go. Okay, cool. So that is how you're supposed to do it, I guess. I mean, again, that's what the staff said. Okay, so don't blame me. You know, anyone out there, you're looking at this, you're like, come on, that's a bad way. Don't blame me. Blame staff. Blame Sean L. And I have nothing against Sean L, but I do have to kind of, you know, take a quick jab at him because he spells his name S-E-A-N. Can we be honest for a second? Does that look like Sean to you? I mean, I know it's Irish and all that, and it makes sense, but come on. Come on. That's the wrong way to spell it. And I'm sorry, any Seans out there, or Seans, should I say, that spell your name incorrectly. You know, I'm sorry that you were given a raw deal, but I'm just saying, okay? I just wanted to bring that up real quick. So, okay, cool. Well, that solved our problem very quickly. Very easy. I expected it to be a little bit more complicated than that, and I was like, already, I was like, oh, maybe we got to do like this async task. No, just call stop moving immediately. Now, we don't even really have to do anything else. I was like, oh, well, we should do this if they're within range. But honestly, this kind of makes sense. I mean, he doesn't like spawn a hitbox or anything to do extra damage. But look, it would make sense if he runs into you to stop. And then he can do an attack as well. Makes sense to me. Now, our launch, like our knockback, isn't really working. I feel like it's knocking us back the opposite direction. Is that what's going on here, or is it something else? Yeah, it was knocking us weird, knocking us back the opposite direction on the paladin. But when we used it on the base, it was working. Regardless, the launch is now way too large since we're not like jumping on their head anymore, so I can adjust that. But cool, so we fixed that. Let's, I guess. We don't necessarily have to make like a hitbox like we do in the fighting game tutorial, but we do need to have some way that the zombies' attack is also going to damage us as opposed to just them running into us. It doesn't really make sense for them to do the attack if it's not doing any extra damage. We can replicate it the exact way that we did it on the Paladin's sword, though. Okay? So, like, let me show you what I'm talking about here. So it's Paladin character BP, and I was showing you this weapon collider earlier. Well, we can do basically the same thing that we've done here, except on the zombie, and have basically a hitbox. We can check if they're doing an attack, like if they're in the attack state, and then if they are, deal damage to the player. So it's not too bad. There's one other thing I'd like to look at. So like, if he hits you, knocks you back. Oh no, okay, with the knockback it's okay. It was just bugged because of we didn't have the knockback going the right direction, so that's okay. Alright, so let's get the zombie BP, and we can actually just copy it from the construction script of the other one. I will need to get the collider, which did I use I just used regular box collision. So box collision is the best form of collision when you require a box, quite literally. I'll say attack collider. And we won't want that, but we'll want this instead. STB angry. I don't have the emote on here, so that has to work. It does well enough. I got you. Oh god, Shawnthebro, Shawnthebro. Right? Come on. I mean, listen. I can respect someone. You know, they can be named Scene. That's fine, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to take a jab at them. That's all I'm saying. Okay? It's completely reasonable. I know many Scenes, SEANs. And I just make the joke every time. And I'm sure they get tired of hearing it. But, you know, they always try and say that that's the right way to spell it. And I just can't agree to that. You know, I don't give up my morals to please other people. You understand me? And I can't go in and say that SEAN is the right way to spell it. That's all. I'm sorry. I've said it. Okay. But on a serious note, we have to go into the zombie skeleton and be able to make the socket where we want to attach this box. Probably just the hand. It's his left hand, if I'm correct. I was not correct. I'm an idiot. It's his right hand. So, right hand. Honestly, like the thumb is fine. It doesn't really matter as long as you're close enough. So right hand, thumb 1. Will have to work. Right hand, thumb 1. Okay. So we do right hand, thumb 1. Now I've explained this before, but the reason you do it in the construction script is just so you can kind of see it when the character is spawned. Like you can see it's here now. It follows the character. So you can see, oh, I had the wrong thing. Probably pretty good. It looks a little long. Probably something like that. Redeem play life a certain way. Change your name to SEAN or just flat out Scene. You know, we might not do that one. And now, yet again, we can actually just copy the logic of the Paladin character. We go into our event graph. This is how we did the logic to cause damage to the enemy. We basically are going to do the same thing, but the opposite way. We're going to go into the zombie BP. We're going to grab the attack collider and do on begin overlap. And then we're going to paste this. And we're going to change some things. So we're not going to use the zombie BP. We want to cast it to the Paladin character BP. We should not call... Oh, this is just because it's the same take damage. So we need to take damage of this character. We should technically get direction if we're going to knock them back. Which we should write a function for, because it's going to get annoying if you want to do it every time. We can even do the same hit effect, just to prove a point. Love it. So, first of all, it's never, you know, we don't have any logic to not trigger the overlap, if you noticed. So that is, you know, that might be part of an issue, but let's see. I think before we even do the cast here, we just check the zombie state and see if it's equal to attacking. Something like this. because we don't want to be doing damage every time it hits us. Sure, it worked for the sword without doing it because the sword was really just out of the way of the enemy. I mean, we should be doing it there too, to be honest, but... So if it's attacking, then continue to do the logic, you know, do your cast, do your collision checks, and all that. Now, we still don't have the proper, like, direction, but you can see I took damage from the... There we go. I have to change the damage amount to 1. And now you can see at this point, he can hit me and I can fly back. He can also hit me again and then I lose health. So at this point, we're getting like a genuine enemy. I mean, I feel pretty darn good about this. He does pretty much everything an enemy needs to do. I mean, we don't really need to do the emitter here. It doesn't really even look good, to be honest, so I'm probably just going to ignore it for now. But, you know, it's not... I think everything's working as intended. Now, one thing that I know we have gotten a few times is, you know, how do I make it so the character doesn't rotate like that? This way I can't face the camera and stuff. And there's quite a few ways to do it. The way I usually do it is pretty darn simple. I've done it in like an Animal Crossing type project that I've worked on in the past. And I've done it in... I did it in the fighting game, but the fighting game was more... I just flipped the axis, which this would probably be a little bit different. We'll probably do a quick flip. Like, actually have them flip, because it looks good to do the rotation. And things like that. Or you can go as far as to do the full rotation. Doesn't have to be any sort of flip or any sort of, like, axis manipulation. But lock them, like once they press the button, they're locked into the rotation. It's quick, you know, a few frames, but like maybe even like 2 frames. But it does like go back and forth, you know what I mean? You can see the whole thing. It's a very quick animation. So, I mean, we could do that as well. We have quite a few options here if we're gonna do that. Let me think real quick before we get into that stuff if there's anything else we need with this guy. He's pretty much set. I'm pretty content with him. This is basically what we set out to make. So, I mean, whether he's the best enemy in the world or not, I don't know. But, you know, this is what I wanted to make. And I feel like we did a very good job of that. I will say, actually, real quick, do we have a zombie death? I don't really want to go get one. We do have a zombie death animation, though. So I feel like we should just use that. It is set up. Is it... Oh my god, is it the same animation we have on the character? Tell me it's not. Tell me it's not the same animation. Did we get the same animation? There's no way we did. I must really like that one if we did. Hold on. Okay, it's not quite the same. But it is pretty darn similar. Okay. Alright. Alright, let's close out of some of this stuff. Let's get the zombie death animation as opposed to him just disappearing as well. I think that's something we need. So we do have him dying upon collision with the star, and he does have to take damage. Which take damage should call the base enemy take damage, which basically triggers death logic here. We didn't have anything for play death VFX in the zombie, but we could set that up. That's not a big deal. And then we call die, which calls destroy. Alright, so we no longer want to call destroy in here. That's why we're just disappearing. What we want to do instead is, what is it? State equals E, did I say E enemy? I did. I then say E dead. Just like that. And, you know, again, we can set, like, can move, we can cancel his stuff. But basically, we want to set him to dead. We want him to play the animation. And then... Plot twist, your player was a zombie the whole time. Right? That, honestly, we're making some good lore here. Because I'm telling you, I thought it was the same death animation. I was like, man, that is going to be weird. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we'll get the death animation working for the zombie. We'll make him stop moving. You know, we can cancel... Can we cancel easily? I mean, we can call it the stop movement again, but can we... Can't... I wonder how you, like, stop... Is there literally a stop behavior tree? Because there's a run behavior tree. So I wonder how, if we keep him in the scene as, like, a dead enemy, which obviously will get cleaned up at some point, but... So we don't destroy him right away. I wonder how to do that. So that's what we'll do. We'll focus on kind of cleaning all this up. In the next one, we'll definitely work on movement if we don't get to it this stream. And I also want to work on, like, checkpoints, that kind of thing. That way, we die, we respawn, we don't have to restart the editor every time. That's a pretty annoying thing to do, even when debugging, let alone, like, you know, actually playing. If you're dying that quickly, you want it to be quick. You want to respawn quickly, so... Alright, idle to dead. Or is your thing set up? It is set up to go from that. So I think this should work. I don't think I missed anything. No, I didn't. But see, he's still moving, and I knew that was going to be the case. Oh, the animation's actually set to loop, so... Let me change that. Fix that right off the bat. Okay. And yes, we knew he was still going to be moving. I wonder if I can just cancel a behavior tree. I will need to also stop his collider because we don't want to be able to take damage like that. So let's see. We still have a few things we can do here. So I call die. Trigger death logic. Play death VFX. So I actually did that in the zombie controller. I do stop behavior tree. No. Behavior tree. I mean, one thing we could do right off the bat without even saying anything else is, hold on. Stop AI logic on unpossessed. You see that? So I think if we were to just unpossess the... I think if we were able to just unpossess the pawn, then actually it would stop itself. But there should be a way to stop AI logic then. I mean, there's stop movement again, which we can use that, sure, but I want to stop the... I mean, we can try it. We can just try it. So basically, can I just call... See, this is not something... I don't normally do this. Can I call unpossess? Unpossessed. So now I need the controller. Can I get controller and just call unpossess on death? Hello, IntelliSense, I need you. Because I don't know if I can do this or not. I mean, we can try it. I can't tell if this is a real error or not. Because Unreal doesn't like when you use things like, it hates get world. It always hates get controller. Try building it. Let's see if it'll work. Because if I can just call it there, I'll just do that. And I have no problem letting Unreal do the rest. Unpossessed isn't... Wait, it's not? Is it unpossessed? Is it like that? Did I spell possess wrong? Is there 2 S's each time? Oops, that's the wrong thing. I think there's 2 S's, right? I could be silly. I might be silly right now. We'll see. The controller is definitely the one that calls unpossessed, right? Yeah, okay, that worked. Just need the cap. See, I don't like that. I would not do unpossessed, capital P. Ugh. I'm disgusted right now by that. That is gross. Okay, this might work right off the bat. I was going to end up unpossessing anyway, so if AI logic... Okay, so it's just null. I mean, we can do if get controller, but... Why is the controller null when we are possessing it, though? Unless he's, like, taking damage multiple times. But still, the control... I don't usually do possess and unpossess in code. I know it's a simple operation, but I prefer spawning and destroying in blueprints. So I'm a little bit unfamiliar with it. We can just do it in Blueprint. I wanted to just do it and die there. What I can do is actually just say stop AI logic and then make that a Blueprint implementable event we call here. And if that means that we just unpossess, then we just unpossess. I think that's the cleanest way that I'll know how to do it, so let's do that. Here we go. I'll put these at the bottom. So we need play death VFX, but we're gonna say stop AI logic. And then we will call this when we die. After I set the state, that way it'll go through that. Oops. All right, let's build the solution again, make sure it compiles, which I could just hit play, but whatever. Would be faster that way. There we go. See, we're making good progress, though. I basically wanted this enemy to be complete, fully functional. I mean, we're probably going to add more to him down the line if we get into making this a real, like, functioning game, which I'd like to. But at this point, I'm just kind of testing things out. I'm learning the AI behavior tree. I want to have an AI as a base that we can use in the future and things like that. So I think this is going well. What am I doing? So I need my zombie VP, and I should have stop AI logic that I can call. Stop AI logic. And I might be able to just do unpossess. I mean, I do need the controller. I know I need the AI controller. So, okay, let me get... Can I get the controller? I should be able to get the controller from this pawn. I'm assuming that works because it should know which one is possessed. And then call unpossessed, which again, it's really ugly that it's capital P. I thought it was capital P. Like once I saw it didn't compile, but then I was like, that is ugly. There we go. Works like a charm. He's not doing any of his AI logic anymore. So that's good. We need to disable his collision box. See, why is this, I mean, I get it. Like, okay, make sure it's valid. I was going to do that in code, but I still don't understand. Why would it not be valid? Is this getting called more than one time? Even then, the controller should still be valid. Josh Marshall, he lies. Does he? Oh, wait. Josh said the doctor in DVD is hot garbage when I told him it's easy to get adept as him. Ooh, you mean hot garbage to play as? First of all, thanks for being here, Josh, and thanks, David, for being here. Appreciate the conversation in the comments. For real, I think that's funny. As for this, hold on. So, the Doctor in Dead by Daylight is not hot garbage. He's very easy to play, in my opinion. I think it is easy to get adept as him. There's definitely... He's one of the easier ones, I would say. Alright. I don't exactly know why this is happening. I'm not going to lie. But we're just going to check if it's valid before using it. It's kind of the easy way out, but that controller should be valid. I mean, we possess it. We auto-possess it. We don't have our own controller. So I bet something internally with Unreal does that. Okay, that's fine. That's working, so we're good there. Certainly better, though. Yeah, the nightmare. Just saying. Okay. Cool. Alright, this is excellent. This is really good because now we're golden here. We have to disable collision on the collider. We can probably just disable collision on the entire capsule component. Actually, we'll just do it right here, too. This is perfect. So we'll unpossess, and we'll set collision enabled to false. No collision. And now nothing should be able to hit it, which we don't need to at this point. If we wanted other logic, we could make that happen. But for now, I don't see why it would be necessary. So now I should be able to defeat my opponent. And she doesn't have attack to dead, so he's continue his attack. Now look, we can walk right through him, and he's got no AI logic. You know, we should clean him up eventually, but for now, he is deceased. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, you're lucky to not have. There we go. I'm feeling so good about this. So we still have our base enemy right there, which we won't be able to do damage to anymore because I took out the base enemy VP thing. Oh, I'm silly. Silly for doing that. Oh, in the second level, we're still the mannequin. Throwback. Okay, cool. This is awesome. This is very good. This was everything I hoped to learn in this episode and more. So, I mean, we could add states to, like, go to death from walking, so he doesn't have to try and complete his state. Wait, actually, he's just flat out dead. Because he can't return to idle because I sent him to dead. So, yeah, let's do that. Otherwise, he's going to have a lot of those. Let's make sure he can go to dead from everywhere. Dead. So, let's make it shared. Dead. And we'll say hit to dead. Yeah, we'll do hit to dead. We haven't done hit, actually, but that's fine. I don't think the zombie needs one. He's probably going to be a one-hit enemy. So I think he's okay without a hit. So let's do dead. We'll still do it, just in case. Attacking to dead. Walking to death is no great way to do that. Alright, now let's see what it looks like yet again. We know it works from idle. There we go, he goes straight to dead. I think I did that. He might have returned to idle. There we go. He was definitely in walk that time. So that works. Now let's see if I can get him into attack and still kill him. There we go. Cool. So now we have basically all the animations appear to be correct. You know, if anything, we just need to clean him up after a little bit. We could do this manually if you guys want to see that. We can do it right now. It's not hard. We can do... Let me think of the name of this. Is it timer? Set timer by event. Or by function name, either way. We can do it by an event. So we can do something called set timer by event. And essentially what this is we can trigger an event once a certain amount of time has passed. So I can, after 5 seconds of him being defeated and no collision, we can call a new event, add custom event, and we can call it clean up. And this should probably be one in code since everyone is going to have this. But basically clean up can do destroy actor. And maybe we play like a particle effect or something. But now after he's defeated, we should clean up the resources since we no longer need him to be here. You could also wait until you leave the screen or whatever, but there you go. You can see it working. So I will do us a favor and make this now because I think it's important. Void clean up resources. This can be used for more than just destroying, so that's why I'm keeping the name kind of vague like that. I keep building because I'm not thinking. Should just be playing. And now we'll be able to link these events and we can see the resources get cleaned up. So we're managing our memory quite a bit better at this point. Here we go. Not have that event. Let's clean Clean up resources. Bind this event. This is how you bind these together, okay? And there we go. We'll do it again. It's not bindable. Is there something you have to say to make it bindable from code? I know it's possible. Give me a second. I forget exactly how to do it. I thought it was that simple, though. I feel like it kind of is that simple. Pure or Latin? Okay, well, I'm not really worried about that at the moment. I will leave the function in, the blueprint implementable event, and that way we can... Oh, does it need to be blueprint callable? Since the event is gonna... Ooh. Let's try... You know what? Let's try it. I'm not sure. This is a weird one. It's been a while. Blueprint callable. There we go. We'll see if that works. That might work. If that doesn't work, I'll figure it out. Probably off stream, and we'll implement it in the next one. Oh, it's already been an hour and a half, too. You complain that. There we go. Okay, clean up resources. That's what I wanted. Because the way this works is this timer is going to call this function, so it has to be blueprint callable. Makes perfect sense. That part was on me. So now this should work. There we go. We're looking so good, aren't we? All right, now let's start on some of the movement stuff. There are a few things we need to adjust here. So first of all, first things first, let's go into our Paladin character VP. I don't entirely know everything I want to change, so this might just be a lot of experimentation here. One thing we're going to change is in the, I don't know if it's the, probably the character movement, but there's a lot it could be. Oh no, everything's not using that. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. Whoops. Not when I do that. Just trying to grab this. I hate that some of these are so hard to see. Okay. I think the main thing we want to do for the, as far as the movement is concerned, is make sure we can't like face the camera and attack that way. And like I said, it's not really too bad, actually. I've done it quite a few different ways. But I don't really want to get into that now. It's not the point of this episode. Like, I want to work on something, and it can be movement, but that's like more a specific thing. Like next episode can be all about movement of the character, and I'll get some stuff together. But let me think about what else we need. So both of these characters could actually be adjusted a bit so that they're actually on the ground, but. Weird that I like gave him velocity in this direction. Let's fix this because this is a little bit annoying. I always am bad at this. I don't know if there's a better way to do it than the way I do it, but I just like, you know, I eyeball it. I guess if I add the actual height, negative 90, negative 92. It's definitely closer. Okay, that looks on the ground to me. That's pretty darn close. Okay, cool. Let's fix the zombie. You know, sometimes little improvements like this do make a huge difference. Is he also going to be 95 or? That looks pretty good. Okay, but we need to turn down his move speed. He is zooming. He's as fast as the paladin. Can we just change his max walk speed, I wonder? If he's doing a move too, if it actually uses this. Not 20, but let's make it. I don't know if it does or not. We'll see. Yeah, it does. Excellent. It should really even be way slower than that, if we're being honest. It should be like 20. That looks pretty good, actually. I mean, it's silly, but looks pretty good with the animation we happen to choose. Let's do 40. Alright, this is feeling pretty good. I like where we're getting now. This is going well. Should we give ourselves a double jump? I am curious about this. Okay, so if we turn that off, we can just flip him. Force a rotation, flip it. So that'll be our friend for this upcoming thing. So orient, rotation, and movement. All right, cool. I like this. I like the way this is turning out. I'm really happy with this, actually. Play it again. Let me look at everything. Okay. This is feeling pretty good. Yeah, we'll fix the movement so that it can only be left and right. Okay. Yeah, this is feeling really good. Alright. Let's, I almost feel like leveling would be a fun thing, like getting new abilities, maybe like activating double jump once you get certain experience, or maybe pick something up. That could be cool. It's like items would be fun. I think checkpoints and saving and loading would be fun. There's plenty of good things to do. We can do a movement next time because there is a lot to be done. We can do the movement can encompass like the rotation, but also the camera and stuff. I would file under movement because the camera is the basic Unreal camera right now. There's so much more we can do with it. Again, it's good, follows the player, great for the template. But, we shouldn't really, we shouldn't really leave this as like our default camera. That was weird. I went into my dying animation. Oh no, because I had the star? I think I called the wrong die in this one because I had die in here. Yeah. Yeah, die's not supposed to be this. If the zombie hits the Twitch and they're in the star, then guess who needs to die? The other character, the base enemy. Let's try that again. This like orange triangle thing is the star. Okay, that makes more sense. I must have accidentally connected that or done something. Okay, cool. Yeah, and like we have the coin that you can pick up and it goes to the HUD. We could do something with that once you collect so many, or that could be the currency instead of like an experience, but it's like you pick these up and you can level things up or get new abilities. This is the other level, so I do have to update the other level. That, I mean, probably doesn't need to be, like, on stream, anything like that. I more want this for, like, a tutorial thing. I'm just mainly talking to myself right now. I'm trying to figure out, get everything together, because we did everything I wanted a little early, which is good, but I don't really want to go too far on anything else. So we might wrap up like 10 minutes early. I'll keep going for a little bit more because I do want to adjust one more thing for sure. I think this is good. I seriously feel good about this. So let's add. The only thing I don't like necessarily is that the zombie has like these invisible walls. I mean, they're good. I feel like they are necessary for certain things, for certain applications. You shouldn't always need them. But what if we place a zombie outside and they don't have the walls? They still should only go like 700 apart from each other, I believe. I think it's 1110. No, it's 1200. Okay, 1200. So I am curious what this. Get out of here! Get on my face. Curious about what the zombie will do. He's just flat stuff. Oh, he doesn't have a nav mesh. Nav mesh is not long enough. This would be the Y. Get out of here. Okay, so I was facing him the opposite direction. I spawned him in the opposite direction, so I don't blame him on that one. And he's also stuck up against the door, which I don't blame him for either. I did not set up logic to fix that. That's my fault. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Let me, I guess I should look at the direction they're facing, but for now, I mean, you can just rotate him. That's perfectly fine. Oh, that was the location. I'm sorry. But I 188. Yeah, that's a big difference. Am I really spawning him in the ground like that? Oh, I am. I mean, it's supposed to kick it out, but weird. Weird, weird, weird. Okay. We just put everything at 200. Then for you, you need to be rotated. So 180. Now we have this guy. Beat him. Okay, and that's better. Now he's going to get stuck on the door because he's trying to go 700 units. So I don't blame him for that. I am curious, if we go open the door, will he go through? The only problem is actually getting to him after getting the key is like impossible. So I'm going to need to move the key out from back here. Just put it like after the bronze door. Okay, here's the silver key. If I were to open this for you. So he gets kind of stuck on the door itself, I'm assuming just because of his collider, because the doors are a little bit hacky. They just... Actually, no, their collision should be off, right? There must be something with it that's still on, though. Oh, wow. He hit me in the chin. He, like, charged up to hit me from behind. Alright, that's fine. That's honestly not something I'm probably going to ever use. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, but in 2D games, usually you unlock a door, you know, something. The enemies are kind of staying in their same spot. Like, there's enemies that chase, and there's enemies that jump, and they don't really rely on a certain area, and that's fine. They need to work with that. This is quite literally like he's your basic, I want him to be a roaming enemy, so I probably wouldn't put him at a door like this. Not to make excuses. We haven't looked at it yet, so we could and probably should definitely fix it, but I'm okay with that. I was more just curious than anything. I do want to do one more experiment with him and make sure that if I were to put him outside of anything, would he be okay, or will he get stuck somewhere else? Does he only turn around when he hits the invisible wall, or does he turn around when he's 700 meters? Because I can't quite remember. As of now, he's definitely still moving. Okay, so he's stopping. He reached 700. He's going again. So he hasn't been told to turn around because he hasn't hit the invisible wall, but he will keep... Oh, so you know what? No. Okay, so this is good then. So he will just keep wandering. We don't have to give him walls, but the walls will turn him. So if we wanted him not to go to a door, but we wanted a door there, put one of the invisible walls over the door, the player can pass through it, and the zombie will turn around when he gets to it. So this is pretty good AI logic. I mean, he's not the smartest AI, but again, first time using a behavior tree, we did it in a few hours between the tutorials. I feel very good about this. He's got animations and all. That's probably the edge of his nav mesh. It is, yeah. I'll leave it like that just so we can experiment with that and like keep in mind that he can only walk within the nav mesh. But this is cool. I'm feeling really good about this. This is awesome. I feel like we learned a lot this episode too. So cool. Yeah, and I'll probably wrap it pretty soon, and we'll just get started next week again because I don't want to really start anything this late. But we will go over, for sure we'll go over the movement. We'll fix the rotating so he can't face the camera. I'm probably going to also make a custom camera. I have some good ideas for what we can do with a camera. You know, basing it off of other side-scroller games and things like that. Let me do something real quick. Okay, just want to make sure. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that'll be a fun episode. And then after that, I think we should maybe get into like leveling up or changing equipment. Now, with the model I actually have, the sword is not separated, unfortunately. I think in the skeleton it will be. So if I go to like... I go to the Paladin and MVP. Go to your skeleton. The weapon... So it just has a sword joint, that's it. Does it have a shield joint? It does. So I could probably take this out, right? I'm not very good with this stuff, so... But I could probably just do this. Okay, I totally could. And then... Oh. But... It didn't actually change, did it? So maybe I totally could not? I'm not sure. Well, I might have to just put it in a different model. To be honest, I should have used the one without the sword and attached it. I was kind of not thinking about, like, using other things. Yeah, he's fine. We can always make a different color something version that's a tad smarter down the line. Yeah, thank you. I like that. Like, I like that idea. I think that's cool. I set out to make a simple AI. It's always... Listen. And you probably know this, Everglades. Like, I'm just saying this as a general thing. But it's always good, regardless of experience level. You could be senior, software engineer, you know, you think you're the smartest guy on the block, whatever. It's always good, in my opinion, to start out with something simple. So, sure, you know, maybe he's not the most complex AI, but if we haven't done AI behavior trees, I mean, that behavior tree is not the easiest thing to learn. I mean, I struggled with it a bit. You guys were watching me. It's not the simplest thing. It's a little bit confusing. You know, the blackboard thing is a little weird. Like, I figured out how the variables work in that and all, but it's a little weird. You know, I don't want to set out to make, like, Dracula from Symphony of the Night because, you know, maybe he's a little complicated for us right now. But what we learned today, we can use, and we're better at it now, so we can make a more complicated AI down the line. I feel very good about this. So thank you for the support, Everglades, by the way. But yeah, I feel good. We can make a smarter zombie if we want to. But I'll back off the enemies a bit. We need to focus on our character, I think, at this point. Now that we have the damage, now that we have the logic in place, we can focus on making the character feel and play a little bit better. We can focus on the actual mechanics of the game that we want. So if there's anything you guys want to go over, because this series is not really... Okay, let's take some time. I was going to wrap it early, but actually I think let's talk about it, and let's kind of get a plan together. So for the other series, like the fighting game, action RPG, first-person shooter, the Super Smash Brothers, and the random videos that I do, they are all done based off of what people want. So basically, I started making the series because these were games that I wanted to learn more about making them. I had made Fury Strike, which was the fighting game, and I wasn't completely happy with it because it wasn't really finalized or finished, but that's the that's like the natural ending to a, student project. So I'm very proud of that project for as far as we got with it. But I wanted to take it further, and that's good. I like that, but I do go off of what people want to see too, because I want to be helping people make their games, and some things take precedence over others, and some things are like, oh, I just thought of this, I'm gonna throw it in, and it kind of depends. So what I wanted to talk about, this series in particular, like this side-scroller one, again, it's kind of me exploring side-scroller games. I know a lot of the mechanics. I can code them a lot of the times, but I've never coded them together like this. So it's, it's something new for me, and hopefully I can teach you guys well enough that, you're learning from it, and I really appreciate you all being here. But I do want your input, so what certain things would you like to see? And if no one answers, like, no harm done, okay? Not gonna sit here ashamed and all that, but if there's anything you guys want to see, let me know. I will try and incorporate it. I think movement and camera will probably come next for sure, because it's such a major part of the game. The movement feels fine. There's nothing wrong with the movement. But there's just things you can smooth out that make it different. Like, I should not be able to face this way. It's not a big deal, but it makes a big difference if you're playing the game and you're doing this and it's not a 3D game, and that's silly, right? So if there's anything you want to see, let me know. We'll cover it. But yeah, if we were to do like a leveling system with different abilities, it doesn't have to be very complex. Maybe like double jump, super speed, super strength, I don't know, parry, I don't know, whatever. Let me know. Okay, character transformation so we can go full on magical girl in Castlevania setting. Okay, we can totally do that. Like, seriously, that is absolutely something we can do. So I'm gonna look at the chat afterward. I can always look at the chat. I think you guys can always look at it too, like if you were to rewatch the video. But I can definitely see it. I get a log of it in the project, or not the project, in the video settings afterward. So anything you type here, I'll take a look at and kind of plan for that. Because I would like to get your advice and your opinions for what you want to see. Because I'm kind of just winging it, and that's fine. I'm having a fun time with it. And we learn from it, and we try new things. Like the physics thing was Mitchell's idea, and that was cool. Like we used the boulder to kill the enemy and things like that. It's cool. But yeah, if you guys have ideas, let me know. I already told you 1,000 times what I'm planning on doing for the next few episodes, so I won't repeat myself again to spare you. But let me know. It doesn't have to be right now. If you think of anything, you can always reach out to me. But yeah, I think this is going really well. I'm really excited about this. Something I do need to do is make this work with controllers. In my opinion, since this is more of a single player game and not a multiplayer experience like the fighting game, controllers can be kind of integrated along the way and kept up to date. I mean, it's really just, does this feel good? Like, can I perform the action? And the actions aren't so complex. It's not like quarter circle forward in this case. It's like back, forth, and attacks and stuff. So I feel like the controller could be something we could genuinely knock out in honestly a few minutes. Probably 20 minutes, maybe less. Like, the only complications that come with controller are, making sure you have enough for the characters that you're possessing, and then making sure the logic you already implemented works with it. But the logic here isn't complicated. So, like, things like that. I'll just gotta start thinking about things we want to integrate. And yeah, we'll do it. So I won't waste any more of your guys' time. I really appreciate you being here. This was an excellent stream. I just kind of went to work and had fun with it, and that's all that really matters. So if this helped you, I'm genuinely glad about that. But if not, at least I learned something more from it, so I can hopefully help you in the future. And Everglades, I want to give a huge shout out. Thank you for sticking around and hanging out with me. And I know I saw David Taylor. I saw the David that normally is here. I won't say your last name in case you don't want it, because it's not on YouTube on your profile. So Josh, thank you for coming by. Everyone, not trying to exclude everyone or anyone. I can't actually see a list right now like I can on Twitch, so I don't want to just like guess. So everyone who was here, thank you. This is an awesome stream, and yeah, we'll be back next Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Friday, same time on this channel. So if you want to check it out, I'd be happy to have you. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already. Again, YouTube doesn't show me that during the live chat, so I have no idea. But I do know that during the last live stream, there were people who were unsubscribed who were watching. So if that happens to be you, feel free to. It will support me. It's completely free. And Blackbird's here. Thank you. Have a good night. You too. Thank you so much for being here. I love it. I'm doing so many things with my hands, like just moving them. I didn't even realize how much I gesticulate. Is that the word? But like, yeah, I use my hands for gestures. But I guess it just comes with when you have to do public speaking more often. You're supposed to, like, they tell you to do this. So anyway, thank you so much, guys, and everyone. Have a good night. Yep, that's it. I was trying to think if I had any last words, but I don't. I'm still glowing, by the way. That light, I turned it down, but I'm sorry that you were looking at, like, my egg head. My shiny egg head. Have a good night, and bye all. Have a good one. See you later, guys.